Hey guys, in this video, I want to do a deep dive on talking about running ads in your detailing business and explain a couple concepts that I think are going to make things make a lot more sense for those of you who are constantly trying to figure out whether or not you should run ads or who are, spending money running ads right now and maybe not seeing a lot of results. So let me jump straight into this and just say that if you're not a pro detailer, this is probably not going to be very interesting for you, okay? So I'm detailing a Tesla, just a maintenance client of mine, and I thought this would be a good background B-roll footage for this conversation. So ads, the reason why people are so confused about them is because I think they get confused in two different areas. The first area people get confused in is like tactically. They don't actually understand how to run ads, right? So they're like, there's a lot of different platforms I can run ads on. Well, how do I do it on all these different platforms? Do I just spend money and put in a certain title and, subtitle, subtext heading and then try to discount my prices? And is that my actual ad? Like, how do I technically do it? And then the second part is, what do I actually put in my ad? Like, what makes people click? How do I track the data? Like, what do I do with people who have potentially interacted with an ad but didn't become a customer, right? So there's all of those questions. Well, the very first thing that I want to put my foot down on is this. In our private programs, the things that we teach are really heavy organic strategy. And then when people have built a really heavy organic foundation, we can then take those people and start running ads with them or for them or teach them how to do it, and then they can do it by themselves. And those people constantly outperform the people who are running ads kind of in the beginning of their business who have not built any organic foundation. And I want to explain the logic of why this is, and I think it will help you guys. One of the things that I think everybody should understand as a detailer is that search engine optimization and sort of like these fanciful words that we use when we describe things happening online, a lot of those things can sound really intimidating, but really all they are is basic human psychology or basic intuitive ways that humans think, and they're put into technical realities. And so let me give you an example of this. On Amazon, we tend to buy products that we see a lot of really good reviews for, and then we don't tend to buy products that we don't see a lot of good reviews for. And then another analogy we could give is we tend to buy products that have more reviews over products that have less reviews. So if there's the same product A and the same product B, and they're both put next to each other, and one of them has 1,000 reviews and the other one has 3, we're going to buy the one that has 1,000 reviews. And essentially, it's just this idea that more people have interacted with this product and they still have come out with like good reviews. So therefore, we are going to buy that, right? There's like this social proof aspect about it. Well, the reason why I bring up reviews is because Amazon has built into their kind of system this ability for us to review things, and it's sort of like in this technical landscape, but it's still just a basic fundamental reality of like people, right? It's like, oh, we would rather buy a product that has more people using it than less people, right? That's how we should think about the approach to the technical world in our detailing business, okay? So if I have a product on Amazon and I have 0 reviews for it, and I spend money running ads to put that product at the top of Amazon search for certain search terms, even though I'm spending money putting it at the top, it still has 0 reviews next to the closest competitor, which is going to show up right below me organically. And so people are probably still going to pick on the organic competitor. And it has nothing to do with the fact that they're ranking organically necessarily. It just has everything to do with the fact that they have more reviews. They've interacted with more people. They've sold more product. And so despite the fact that I can pay to position myself above them, I am still going to be compared against them in some sense. And people, more often than not, are probably going to pick the competitor. And I'm going to be spending money on this thing that is ultimately not going to produce the results I want. And this is what a lot of detailers are doing when they're running ads in their business. So let's talk about the first problem, which I think was highlighted by the Amazon analogy. They have no organic foundation. And so they have this really rudimentary website and potentially like a Google My Business page, because you're going to need that if you're going to run ads, particularly on Google. But then you have nothing else other than that. You just have those pages set up. Maybe you have a couple reviews, a few pictures here and there. And so what ends up happening is they see the review, or they see the ad because you're paying to be at the top, but you are going to be put next to these other people. And so the thing that I want to highlight is when you don't have any organic foundation and you're running ads, the only thing you can compete on is the offer that the ad is running off of. And so generally speaking, a lot of detailers will run ads and they'll offer a discount and they'll say, hey, we got a 20% discount, And you'll end up populating that. Your search result will populate for particular key terms. And so if they search ceramic coatings in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm the one running the ads, then I'm going to pop up for that. The issue is, it is not the most effective thing to compete only on offer, because inevitably you are competing only on price at that point. And so I want to explain this because, again, I think this is a very, very important point that everybody should listen to if you're running ads. If you are running ads with no organic foundation and your offer is a discounted price, you immediately set up a situation with these cold leads where they are trying to race to the bottom in terms of price because your ad was automatically offering a discount and there's nothing else there that a person values in terms of social proof, authoritative reviews, inbuilt trust on other platforms that can then trickle down to your Google platform. So you inevitably become let's just call it the Chinese manufactured product that's not as good as the other thing because it's just constantly trying to cut cost, and inevitably you're just competing with people who suck as much as you suck. And so it's really an ineffective strategy when it comes to running ads, because not only have you not done the prior work necessary to allow yourself to compete on more than just price, but secondly, you're literally introducing your business to a customer in a discounted form. And the only type of conversation you can ever have with a lead like that, if they submit a form or if they text you or call you, it's going to be a price conversation 10 times out of 10. And guys, the reason I know this is because I have been doing this for 14 years, and not only do I have a ton of experience in my own detailing business, running ads, building organic foundations, building audiences online, making sure that things are local or optimized locally, as well as nationwide optimization. But we can do this with other people. We do it with people all the time. And so what I'm highlighting to you right now is a problem that I see it constantly, and it's really an easy thing to fix if you can literally just change a couple things. And so the second thing that I want to highlight here, the second big problem, is the platform on which you are running the ads. And so there's a thing to highlight here when you're running ads to a service-based business like detailing. Number one, when you're running ads to a business that someone purchases a service from, there's an intent to purchase, right? So there's a certain level of involvement that a customer has to have in order to purchase from you. And the thing that I would compare it to is purchasing a service versus purchasing a product. So if I purchase a product on Amazon, there's very little involvement from me. I can just click the button and it arrives at my house. If I purchase a service on my vehicle, it requires a little bit of conversation with the person on my end. It requires me to kind of explain what I want. It requires potentially me interacting with that person in person. And so there's a difference in intent, okay? And so one of the big distinguishing factors that's not always true, but it is often true, is that Google tends to be a very intent-based platform because it's a search engine. And so YouTube can be a very similar platform in that sense, in that when people are searching things on YouTube, there's an intent that they have. Now, it's becoming less and less that way because a lot of people are just scrolling on YouTube now, but the point remains the same. Facebook is not that way. So Facebook, people are scrolling, they're looking to be entertained, they're looking to see their preferred news source, they're looking to see what their friends are doing, they're looking to see a video of their kid doing a backflip off the diving board, right? And you're basically interrupting them on Facebook and you're sending them elsewhere. And it can be relatively difficult to grab a detailing customer from platforms like that. And one of the more effective strategies when running ads on Facebook for a detailer can be things like building brand awareness over time. When you have a lot of margin and revenue coming in, there are ways to utilize Facebook in order to basically maximize what you're doing on other platforms. But for anybody who is not in that place where you just have a bunch of excess cash to spend, I highly suggest focusing on Google. The other thing I would say is focusing on your organic foundation in Google, because that's what's going to allow the ads to light the fire. So that's what I wanted to come to next, which is if I am building an organic foundation on Google and I am building great ads because I can split test them and change copy really quickly on Google, I can then use and leverage my organic audience to run ads Far more effectively, but more importantly, far more inexpensively, because I have an audience that people interact with, or I have a platform, that an audience interacts with for free because of that organic foundation, and I can then build lists off of those interactions and run ads in a sort of retargeting ad way to those people. So again, we can think about this as simply as possible, and I'm not trying to use too much like jargon. I think some of it's probably pretty self-explanatory, but if I am running ads with no organic foundation whatsoever, I'm running ads to completely cold audiences. It would be similar to me holding up a sign on the side of the road that says detailing cars, okay? You're just catching random people as they're going by. There's no real strategy behind this other than capturing people locally. That's what Google allows you to do. If I have an audience that interacts with my Google My Business page, with my Facebook page, with potentially other organic search engine platform profiles, I can then start to build audiences off of those people's interactions, and I can run ads to them knowing that they are people who have interacted with my stuff before in particular capacities. And that immediately lowers my cost to acquire the lead because I am naturally going to get a greater click-through rate. I'm naturally going to get more interaction from ads that I run to people who have interacted with my stuff before, right? It's not a cold audience. And so I think detailers are sometimes intimidated. It's very easy to be intimidated by some of this stuff because we're kind of like, hey, we just want to detail, man. Like, we just want to build a detailing business. We don't want to worry about all that stuff. And so I'm hopefully trying to simplify a little bit of that and build some frameworks for you to help build your business with. Because if you can build your business with this stuff, you can start to scale, okay? Once you understand some of this stuff, you can really start to scale things up. So that's why I just give it away for free, because I'm more interested with working with detailers who are kind of in a place where they're ready to scale. And so, all of that being said, I want to give you a very specific example of what this could look like. If you have a great Google My Business page where you're garnering reviews and you're garnering video and photo content and sort of things like that, and you're deciding to hyper-focus on Google, and I would highly suggest doing that. And even if you can't do that, I would suggest focusing on a single platform because it can make things far less overwhelming and you can get far more juice out of the squeeze if you're going to focus on one platform at a time, okay? Especially if you're in the beginning. But if you're doing that, we can actually begin to build lookalike audiences on most platforms, by the way, if you're using Google, in order to target those people with your exact same ads, and it is going to lower the cost to acquire the lead. Now, when I say we, I mean you. Like, I'm not going to do this with you, okay? And these are things that you can learn to do very simply on your own, or you can, buy courses about it. But that's going to immediately lower the cost to acquire. And then all of a sudden, you have a fighting chance in the game of ad spend in order to dial things in. The reason why detailers waste money running ads and then just quit is because you never had a chance. You're just running random ad copy to random audiences locally, and you're going to waste money. It's just not possible to win at that game. And what ends up happening is a lot of detailers, and you might resonate with this, they get an email from a quote-unquote marketing agency who promises that they can get them more leads and more customers, and because detailers don't know any better, because they're not familiar with the online landscape, they really fall prey to spending not only a bunch of money in ads, but spending a bunch of money on a marketing agency that turns out is actually just one single guy in his mom's basement who doesn't really know what he's doing, but he's kind of preying on unsuspecting industries like detailing. And unfortunately, a lot of detailers have wasted many thousands of dollars until they finally shut that down and said, wait a second, I'm getting 1,000 leads per month and 0 customers. Something's not right about this. And so I don't want you guys to fall into that because it's very easy, especially when you're trying to make something happen early on. And so the big takeaway here, guys, is building your organic foundation is going to serve you far into the future. It also makes it certain that you are not a price competitor where the only thing that you guys can compete on is price, and because sort of being a commodity service business. When you build a strong organic foundation, you're able to not just do things technically like I explained here, but you are naturally going to become, at some point and at some level, you become a brand. That is the way brand essentially is built, right? Like there's a reason why you and I pay so much money for Nike tennis shoes when they are just, moderately better than other tennis shoes, right? It's like there's a certain brand awareness that sits in our head when we associate ourselves with that particular company. And so if they were just some random company, we would not pay $300 for their tennis shoes, right? And so that's kind of the direction we want to go towards, at least not perfectly, but start moving towards that direction in our detailing businesses, because that's the only way we're going to build a business that allows for the margin for us to do what we need to do, build the business the way we need to build it, and take home money all along the way. Because there's no reason to build a business that isn't building wealth for you all along the way. It's way too hard to not be doing that. So guys, hopefully this helped. Leave me a comment below if you resonate with any of this, or if you have any questions. I would love to know how this lands based on where you're at. And as always, guys, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, remember, a great detailer is always learning, and I'll see you in the next video.